Hey everyone, welcome back to KC3D Sparks. Today we are going to be continuing our Tavern. So yay, Tavern Part 2. Last time, if you missed it, we went ahead and I already had this generic room set up, so obviously these are probably going to change as we go along, but it's just there's a visual. But we made these bar counters. So I'll go ahead and put that link in the description below and probably a link at the end of the video as well. So feel free to check those out because today, naturally, after we created these bar counters, we're gonna make some stools. So I'm gonna do 3 different types. That way I can kind of have it mismatchy, or just so you guys can have some fun deciding how you want to make your stools, just different ways to do it. But yeah, so I'm just gonna go ahead and go to this second layer again. I don't have to hide all of those floor pieces. And again, if you didn't watch the last video, just make sure that your scene is set up so your unit's set to whichever you prefer to work in. I changed the scale of my grid to 1/4 of an inch, and just make sure you have all your stuff set up. Anyway, so once we get into our bar stools, I want to go to the second layer so that way I can go ahead and just pull up the bar counters so I can compare the height before I get into the actual room itself. For our first bar stool, we want to kind of figure out how big it should be. So I'm going to unhide this counter, leave it unhidden, and I'm going to do Shift A, Shift A, and we are going to add a cube. Obviously that's way too big, and so I'm going to size that down. And just pull that over. And boop. Let's see. Actually, that height looks kind of good. You want it to be right below the counter. Probably could be a little bit taller. No, actually, you know what? I think I'm going to leave it as is. I think that actually works out pretty well for the height, but probably don't want the stool to actually be this big. So what we can do to size it down is S, Shift Z, so it sizes in those directions, but you want to make sure you have everything selected. And what do we think about there? Looks good. A little less than an inch. No, just kidding. A little less than 1/4 of an inch. Yep, I think that works out well. Cool, so now that we have our height, I'm going to tab out of edit mode so I can actually see those dimensions. But what I'll do is just hide our counter, leave that as our size template. Shift A, mesh. Shift A, mesh, and cube. So we know we want bloop. About there, looks good. Tab into edit mode. And I think our seat can be kind of thick, so maybe about there. Perfect. And then we'll just go into top view. We're going to Control R, scroll up, so that way it has 2 loops. Hit escape just so they land in the center. We're going to size along the x-axis. Whoops. Don't forget to change this back to medium point. Size along the x-axis. I want the legs to be kind of thick, but not that thick, so just a little bit, maybe about there. Do that again to this side, S, Y, and do it so it makes it square-ish. Doesn't have to be perfect. Awesome. Grab these 4 faces. And I'm going to hit E to extrude, but when I hit S for size, you'll notice that they go straight to the center. So in order to size them properly, I'm going to do individual origins and size them down. I think that looks pretty good. I'm going to change this back to medium point before I forget. Then we're just going to hit E to extrude and bring those down. Perfect. And now I would also like to add some rungs along the center. So we're going to do Control R, Control R, and then we can just grab all those, bring them down a little bit. Bring those up. Awesome. Maybe a little bit higher. Go to Face Select. Hit the space bar, type in bridge. And do that to each side. All right, there is our first bar stool. Whoops. All right, and what I want to do is go ahead and take a look at that on the first layer. So I just hit M, move to that first layer. That looks pretty good. I like that as our first stool. The second one is going to be pretty similar to this one. So what we're going to do is just go ahead and go back to this layer. Use this as our size template again, and we are going to Shift A. I didn't just tab into that, did I? Nope. Shift A, cube, just like before, size that way down. Go ahead and compare that to this one. About there, looks good. Okay, so we'll do just like we did before. Pull this up to give kind of a thicker seat. And we will go ahead and do the Control R for the loops. S, X, Control R, S, Y. Okay. Go back into Face Select. Whoops. Gonna grab these three and these three. Front view. E to extrude, and we're just gonna go ahead and pull those down. And then we want to go ahead and flare those out. So I'm going to hit SX, maybe like that. Got a little messed up, so we'll have to just grab these edges separately and make that maybe like that. Looks a little bit better. Control R. Do that bridge again. Perfect. And I wanted to add a little detail to the side. So I'm going to add 2 loops here. Actually, should be able to just do 1 loop, and then we can add a subdivision surface modifier to fix it. So go ahead and pull those up. And want to make sure that they size properly. So grab this one, pull that in, pull this in. Modifiers, subdivision surface, maybe do 2. And we can sharpen most of these to get our look back, but we wanted this to be bent. But I think I wouldn't mind it a little bit higher, but let's see what it looks like once it's all sharpened. Yeah, I think I'd like it a little bit higher. So let's do this. These 4 vertices, pull them up. Oops, I grabbed an extra one there. More like that, looks a little bit better. And just fix those. Pull those back in. Deselect. Select these, pull them in. Boop. There you go. There is our second bar stool. So we can go ahead and hit M, move to the first layer, and let's check it out. Pull that up, pull it back. Very cool. Okay, so I want to go ahead and show you guys one more bar stool, but this one I'm going to start with a circle instead. So Shift A, mesh, circle. And again, still way too big, so let's just size that down to start with. Go into top view. Awesome. So we'll do that. Tab into edit mode. Go into the front view, hit E to extrude, and we're going to want to go down because if we go up, the normals are going to be facing the wrong way. So you want to make sure it's not dark when you make sure it is the lighter gray. Let's make the basis of our stool. So that looks like a good size seat. I'm going to select this with Alt right click, fill in that hole. Alt right click that one, E to extrude, size that in. About there looks good. E to extrude, pull that down. First pull this back up so we can make sure that it's the same height as all the others. Alt right click, pull this down to maybe about there. E to extrude, size that out, pull that down, probably pull this down a little bit too. F to fill in that hole, and let's add a subdivision surface modifier to see how this looks. I don't want to add a lot of loops in here to make it fill back up. I will want to grab this, sharpen that. I want to sharpen this. Just need to sharpen this. And there is our stool. Go ahead, M, first layer. Pull that up. Okay, cool. I hope you guys enjoyed this really quick tutorial on 3 different styles of stools. Let me know if you guys have any questions and I'll be sure to get back to you as soon as I can. Next week, we'll go ahead and start adding in some more furniture. I'll go ahead and duplicate these and set these up in the bar to start filling it up. Let me know if there's anything else specific that you guys want to see in the bar. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment, and I'll see you guys next week.